Hello everybody, this is AG here and welcome to the Watkins Glen International. We are here to qualify for the 28th race of the season here in the 2025 Wawa Cup Series. We are here at Watkins Glen International, one of the best road course races that we have on the circuit. We're excited for this race tomorrow at noon Eastern Time, right here on AG the channel. We've had so many great races so far throughout this whole week. At IndyCar again later today. We had IndyCar last night as well. We had the Sprint Series on Wednesday night, the Indy Lights on Tuesday. We've had just a lot of great racing here from Watkins Glen, and of course all leading up to tomorrow's 19-lap event here from this 3.4-mile road course. If you're new to the channel, we use the extended course at Watkins Glen, and we skip the chicane. And what a passing opportunity the carousel is because of that. We're going to have ourselves such an excellent race. And who knows how it's going to play out. We got to set the starting lineup first, though. And of course, with it being a road course qualifying, no single car qualifying, we will have the uncharted session. Top 5 advance on, and then the highest hot seat driver. If the highest hot seat driver is already in the top 5, then it's the 6th place driver. And then it will be all the 42 cars on the racetrack at once. The top 6 go on to the Fast 6, and then we go for the pole there. Darian Arnsdorf in the number 11 machine, trying to win the Uncharted Championship. He's got himself 20 points on Zane Davidson, so he has not locked a full-time ride for the Wawa Cup Series yet, and quite frankly, that championship may end up going all the way to Darlington on Labor Day weekend. Could be between those two drivers and who gets that last spot into the Wawa Cup. Well, not the last spot in the Wawa Cup Series. There will be plenty more spots available once we get the sign-ups later on in January, but we'll just have to see, because the silly season is going to begin right after that race, and in less than a month. So we're excited to see who ends up where for next season. Arnsdorf definitely trying to get that spot so he does not have to sign up for next season. Dylan Matthews in the 05, and I don't think this is something I've mentioned quite yet, but a lot of these drivers who have met the ratings threshold in the uncharted ranks will be given the opportunity to ride full-time in the Wawa National Series next year. So Dylan Matthews and Johnson Jamison and Jared, well, actually, I don't think Jared Martin's met the ratings threshold. I shouldn't say that on air, but a lot of guys who would love to get a full-time ride. I think the National Series is going to be a great opportunity for a lot of these drivers. Caleb going to be doing that series next year. We're excited to see how it ends up shaking out. Eric Monaco, another one of those drivers. Of course, I think a lot of people would like to see Monaco in a full-time ride based on what he's done in this 45 machine. He is the best driver right now at Racing Motorsports. And of course, a couple weeks from now, we all anticipate him going to Victory Lane at Daytona as he makes that race. We'll see how that ends up shaking out for him. Of course, Darian Arnsdorf will be the first driver to complete a lap here in uncharted qualifying from Watkins Glen. Well, will he complete the lap? He just overshot the corner. That's going to take him out of contention from running this race, and that is very big, because if he doesn't make this race and Zayden Davidson does, we could see ourselves Davidson jumping Arnsdorf going into our next race at Richmond next week, and Davidson could be at an advantage to get that reserve for next season. So Darian Arnsdorf will complete a lap, but it is not going to be up to speed, and he's got some time to get back out there with these 10-minute sessions, but not entirely sure how it's going to work out for him. That's going to put Dylan Matthews at the top of the board in the 05 machine. Our hot seat drivers, I forget. I didn't write it down because I'm a moron. You should always write stuff down if you're not going to remember it. Chris Reynolds, though, is in the 42. I do know that. And Chris Reynolds has been in a few of these Wawa Cup Series races this season. He's made 4 starts this year, but he's been in this 42 to qualify quite a bit this season. What else do we got? We got the number 91, that's Rashia Mahendra. Once again, they have made 2 races. They made 3 races so far this year, including Montreal, which was a good race for them. They qualified very well, and I believe they held on to a top 20. I cannot remember. Number 90, I believe that's... I'm gonna cheat there. That's Trey Wright. I shouldn't do that. And then we got Campbell Marsh in the 14 machine this weekend for Grattan Autosport. Of course, next year, the way the hot seat's going to work, there will not be any more full-time uncharted rides. Of course, we're opening up the Wawa National Series for everybody else in that regard. But the hot seat will still remain. However, the teams will have select races where their car will be guaranteed to run. They'll pick the driver, and they're guaranteed the race. They're really qualifying next year, and there will not be any DNQs going into any of the races in 2026. So that'll make it a little bit easier. If you're in the hot seat, boom, you're in the hot seat. And you're actually going to get some driver's points now, too, because the way the rating system is going to work is the owner's going to add a driver point to all the drivers on their team, and the drivers, not the hot seaters, but the drivers are going to add an owner's point to their car specifically. That'll actually detriment the hot seat cars just a little bit in comparison to the full-time cars, because the full-time cars are going to be getting 2 points a week, essentially, assuming that they do their ratings, and the uncharted cars will only be getting, or the hot seat cars, I should say. We're going to call them hot seat cars. We're going to stop using uncharted. We're going to call them hot seat cars next year. They're all going to be hot seat cars. Well, no surprise, Aiden Davidson is the fastest here in the uncharted qualifying session. Campbell Marsh, Hallie Anderson Jr., Carson Miller, who I'm excited to see Carson Miller full-time in the Turkey Hill Truck Series this year. Great to see him finally get a full-time ride in one of these rating series, and I forget which team he's going to be with, but and watch out for Carson Miller. I think he's a driver who can really find himself in a good position in a lot of races in the Truck Series this season. Got Hallie Anderson Jr. 90 of Trey Wright has just moved up to 4th. Great run for Trey. Great to see him have a good run. I don't know if Trey's made a race this season. Oh, he's made one. He made one start. I can't remember where that was. And Rashi Mahendra with the last spot. We got 3 hot seaters there, and those are the 3 best hot seat rides. 3 of the better teams that we have had this season. Anderson Jr. looking really strong in that 92 machine. This is a track that has favored Pacific Racing in the past. Chase Buck won here in 2023. And, of course, Ludovic Charette won this race a year ago. Darian Arnsdorf is back out there in the 11 machine, and he will have enough time to get a lap in here. So, here's Aiden Davidson. You're hoping he doesn't make it. He's the only driver who has yet to complete a full lap under speed. I know that 27 Johnson Jameson. Hey, Johnson Jameson, if you're watching this, probably not at this point, I don't blame you. You're going to be able to get a full-time ride in the National Series next year. We're looking forward to seeing him in a good ride. Of course, he's got that light series ride right now. They are with, I think it's Vision Motorsports over in the West Series, so you know, he's been doing some nice things over there. Got the 00, Zane Davidson still the quickest, and now you got the 42 of Chris Reynolds, who's holding on to the last spot, but I have a feeling that's going to change here soon with the 11 of Darian Arnsdorf on his fast lap. We'll see if he overshoots that corner again. Eric Monaco not in a good spot to win the championship in the uncharted ranks. As a matter of fact, it's really between Arnsdorf and Davidson at this point. Carson Miller's too far behind. He's missed a couple too many races and hasn't run as well in the races. And the same can be said with Monaco. He's only made about half the races this season. In those races, he actually has done an excellent job. And if he was a full-time driver, he would be 20th in the point standings, which isn't too bad, all things considered, at least based off the average finishing position. Darian Arnsdorf, on the other hand, he would be 17th in the standings if he was full-time. Let's see here if he moves his way in. He will. And that's not a surprise. So that's going to knock out Chris Reynolds. And Arnsdorf will recover from that incident. And you can thank the fact this is a longer session, a 10-minute session here at Watkins Glen. Give himself a little bit more of an opportunity to get up in there. And so there will be a battle between Arnsdorf and Davidson here at Watkins Glen. And it doesn't mean that Arnsdorf's going to run away with it in the Uncharted Championship, but he's going to have an opportunity to mitigate that possible points loss. We'll see where he ends up qualifying, of course. He could qualify much better than Zayden Davidson here at Watkins Glen. Because there was Grattan Autosport that won here a year ago with Ludovic Charette. Ladovic had that issue at Iowa last week that took her out of contention, and she's kind of really out of contention as a whole. She comes into this race, she's going to come into this race 59 points behind, well over a race win. Now, you know, we could see, and we've seen it happen before, where championship contenders have actually struggled here at Watkins Glen. And this is not an easy track for those guys who are up there in the points. Very much a wild card track. Of course, it's part way why Ladovic won the championship last year is because she won this race a year ago, won this wild card event. And that put her in position to have a shot at it at Darlington, and she took advantage of that. But I think a guy you're going to have to watch out for, especially after this race, is Isaac Nichols in the 6 machine, because Nichols could very well have an advantage on Paulus and Ward in this race. And Duncan Ward, of course, won our last road course at Road America, and he kind of dominated that event. So we'll see where he ends up qualifying. That's kind of been the detriment to Duncan Ward here throughout the chase, is qualifying. He's 1 point behind Daniel Paulus Jr. If he gets the pole here at Watkins Glen, he could take that back away from Paulus. We'll see if that ends up being the case. And number 82, J.R. Ribbleton, is blown up. That's a shame. Ribbleton's another one of those guys I do believe has an opportunity to reserve for National next year. I think he's made the rating threshold for that. I'll update that in the server here at some point. Just started my new full-time job today, so you know, we'll see. We'll see what the future holds in terms of availability. Hey, Wawa Cup here's to keep on going. I know that much. We love this series. I know you all love this series, and it has been an excellent season, as we anticipated. Even though we have only had 5 different winners, and we've had 6 different winners since, well, okay, we've had 7 different winners since the beginning of May, in 3 months. And 3 of those drivers have only won. No, I don't know what I'm talking about. 4 of those drivers have only won once in that span, with Troxel, Kirsten Bell, Isaac Nichols, and Nathan Smith, who won last week. Ladovic's won twice, Pauls has won many times, Duncan Ward has won many times, and Blaine Keys has won twice as well. As to say, we haven't had too many different winners this season. I think that's what makes it so fascinating at this point, though, because you know who's good, you know who isn't. Will we get an upset at some point? Those are your 6 drivers racing their way into the Lake Effect Ice Cream 400K. Zayden Davidson, Campbell Marsh, Allie Anderson Jr., Darian Arnsdorf, Carson Miller, and Trey Wright. And let's go ahead and see what they do with the other 36 full-time drivers here in the Wawa Cup Series, going for the Fast 6 here. And, of course, if they don't make the Fast 6, trying to get to that outside lane. You actually want the outside lane here. The inside is not where you want to be. You don't want to win the pole for this race. It's kind of the interesting thing about it. That inside lane going into 1 is awful. It is awful. One of the worst places to be. We'll see. We'll see how it ends up shaking out. Let's get on to it with the main group session here from Watkins Glen. And here we go for round 1, the main round. Of course, top 6 advance on to the second round, which is the Fast 6. And here we go. Both NS Racing cars out first. Travis Crampton, 73 points behind Daniel Pauls Jr. And at this point, it does not look like it's going to be a championship run for Crampton. I would argue that everyone with Dovertrek down is pretty much out of it. Though crazier things have happened. Logan Williams, I think, still has an opportunity. I don't think it's going to happen. Kirsten Bell still has an opportunity. I don't know if there's going to be enough there, and it's really looking like it's going to be between Paulus and Duncan Ward for this title, the way things have shaped up leading into this Watkins Glen race. Now, we have seen, and I was about to mention there in uncharted qualifying, we've seen championship contenders get taken out. Matt Tuck 2 years ago got taken out by his teammate in turn 1. I'll never forget that. Was a big moment. And, you know, you just never know. Something like that could happen here. This is a very treacherous race course, and we already saw Darren Arnsdorf just drive off in uncharted qualifying. He was able to rebound from it, but when you get 42 cars out here on this racetrack, it's not going to be easy for these guys. And who knows, the tire strategy is also going to be a huge factor, the pit strategy, no caution supports with it being the road course, and with that, there's going to be many options for these guys to come down the pit lane. It'll be a 2-stop race for everybody, but when you come down, it can very well determine whether or not you have an opportunity at winning this race. Travis Crampton in 98, though, only 1 win on the season, and that's kind of how it's been for him. He's only got 3 career wins in this series. be his last season as a driver, as he's going to be moving over to ownership there with Triad Racing joining the series next year. So we'll miss Travis as one of the few drivers who has been in the same ride with the same team all 3 seasons of the Wawa Cup Series up to this point. Thomas Troxel, LJ Cimetto, both the Appalachia drivers, Nicholas Sandio, and Williams. And that might be it. I think that genuinely might actually be it. See if our points leaders out there. There's Blaine Keys. Blaine, I feel like, has a shot at this race victory tomorrow, and this is a driver who has found a lot of speed in the chase, and he's now the best of the rest, and of course the leader of the Cancun Cup right now, which is kind of the pseudo best of the rest. But Blaine is 13th in the point standings. He cannot go any higher. He's got 28 points on Alex Sanvitali right now, and there's really a gap that's forming between Keys and Sanvitali and Parton and Sam Adio right there. And Trey Bartow. They're all over 20 points away from the next driver. Blaine Keys and Trey Bartow are only separated by 5 positions in the point standings, but it's over 100 points between those 2 drivers. As Hallie Anderson Jr. is just blowing up, it's a good thing she's already made the race, because that would not have been good if she didn't. We'll have to see if this affects anybody. There's Logan Williams in the 95. I know he is going for all he possibly can in his attempt to win this race, get a win this season. He's yet to go to victory lane this season. Also a 3-time winner on the channel. 3-time winner in the Wawa Cup Series. 1 more races on the channel. And he is the highest driver in the championship standings without a race victory this season. Also the most consistent driver without a race victory this season. Tied with Isaac Nichols on the average finishing positions, only behind Paulus, Ward, Kirsten Bell, Ludovic Charette. These are some of our best drivers. So Logan Williams has had an excellent season, very consistent season. He's just yet to go to victory lane. I know he'd love to get one in these last 5 races this season. Got some times there. They're starting to move up. Carson Miller is the fastest. That's the teammate to Logan Williams, who is now 2nd quickest, faster than Blaine Keys. So Logan's definitely got to be happy about that. And there's no surprise, I think, to see Carson Miller run well on these races now, because Appalachian Motorsports in particular has seemed to really catch on in the past few races. They've run up front in a lot of these events, and they've got a really strong team behind them. Nathan Smith, last week's winner, is 3rd quickest right now in the 06 machine. Good run there for Nathan Smith, trying to back up his race victory from last week. 2-time winner of the season at Las Vegas and Iowa. He's got the win last week, and he is, well, he's now 10th in the standings, but he's only 1 point ahead of Alfred and Miller, who are the 2 drivers last in the chase currently. Laura Chung also 77 points behind as well. Those guys have just not had a good season, or a good couple of races, I should say. They've all had decent seasons, but not necessarily good runs here in the Wawa Cup Series chase. Kirsten Bell, now Duncan Ward, and there you go. There's Daniel Paulus Jr. as well. We'll have to see where he ends up sliding in. I don't know if he's actually started his fast lap or not. He has, and he's 10th, and that's good news for Duncan Ward in the 23, who's trying to take that point lead back away from Paulus. And if you're Paulus, you absolutely want to make sure you start up front in this race. This is not an easy track. It is easier than some other road courses, but it's not an easy track to work your way from the back to the front. With that in mind, Paulus is going to have to really lock in if he does qualify deep in the field, because he cannot risk losing any of these points to Duncan Ward. And this championship really does seem to be between these 2 drivers right now. And Duncan Ward, who won our last road course race at Road America, looking to possibly have a shot for the pole here. Ludovic Charette's also in the top 6 at the moment, though she is 6th quickest of those drivers right now. Thomas Troxel in 7th, Nathan Smith, Darian Arnsdorf, and then Daniel Paulus Jr., with Carson Miller still leading these guys in the 50 machine, and faster by 0.3 of a second on the field as well. That 50 machine is really quick. And Blaine Keys is just knocked out Ludovic Charette. Good run there for Blaine in the 32 machine. And Darian Arnsdorf, we got 2 uncharted drivers at the top of the board right now. How about that? Darian Arnsdorf to the top of the board there in the 11 machine. Now Logan Williams on the bubble. remember, drove off in turn number 7? No, turn number 8. Turn number 8. That's the heel. Turn number 8's the heel. Duncan Ward, though, has just gone to the top of the board. And now it's Nathan Smith on the bubble. Logan Williams, the last driver, out at the moment. Paulus in the 54 down to 11th. With Duncan Ward the fastest right now. Of course, top 6 move on to the Fast 6 shootout. And it's looking very good for Duncan Ward in the 23 machine. Now, if you're Duncan Ward, here's the big kicker. Do you want the pole? Do you want that point? Do you want to even it up? Or do you want the second place starting position, which will more than likely have the advantage at the start of the race? We'll just have to see which direction Duncan Ward decides to take it in the Fast 6. He will undoubtedly be in the Fast 6 with that time. 144.121 for the driver of the number 23. You got Carson Miller in the number 50 machine, who is still up there. Kirsten Bell, Isaac Nichols, and 06. Now, Isaac Nichols is still very much in contention. If he can finish ahead of both Duncan Ward and Daniel Paulus Jr., he is very much in an opportunity to have a shot at this championship, especially when you consider the races we have coming up, because Daytona is a big wild card, and then Homestead Darlington may actually be tracks that favor Nichols just a little bit. One at Atlanta and Nashville this season in that number 6 machine for Parker Davis Enterprises. This team as a whole has 4 wins. Actually have more wins than Bratton Autosport officially. Velocitar has 5. Paulus has not gotten the 6 wins yet this season. I don't know if it's going to come in this race, though. It's 11th. Not a bad start right now. We'll see if he improves his time right here. Those tires are going to wear out significantly, though, and it's going to be hard to work your way up as Crampton moves up to 14th. Some other chase drivers throughout the field. Avery Alford is 22nd right now. Not a good starting position for Nicholas Samadeo either. Who's overall not had a good season in that 59 machine, which is a shame. It's going to be interesting to see where Samadeo and the Williams end up next year, because obviously Appalachian Motorsports closing out. Caleb's a big part of the channel now, and with just conflict of interest with him owning a team. So those are 2 very, very good drivers. I know Samadio's had a bad season, but he is still one of the best drivers in the series. And we'll have to see what he does with Parker Davis in the Truck Series. And we'll have to see with Parker Davis. We'll have to see. There's going to be the new Intersys Motor Racing coming in, kind of replacing Grattan Autosport in a way. They're probably not going to retain Drew Webb over there. They might. We'll see. Drew's going to come back next season, so we're excited to see him actually go back through a whole season as a top driver. Not a good run for Laura Sean. That's 38th, and a tough break for Laura. She's had a great season, but just near the end here, she's kind of fallen off a little bit. Of course, her teammate ended up with a runner-up last week at Iowa, and Andrew Miller, I don't think Miller's gotten a full lap in yet. It might change right here. He was 42nd right now, across the line for Miller. He's going to improve that all the way up to, where was he? 4th. Wow! He went all the way up. He went from 42nd to 4th, and Andrew Miller's going to have a shot at the pole now. Duncan Ward's still in it. That puts Isaac Nichols on the bubble. Nathan Smith just got knocked out. And it's Blaine Keys, Logan Williams, Ludovic Charette, and then you got Paulus now in 12th. Jack Haas 13th. Paulus in 12th. That's not good, especially considering that Duncan Ward's got the fastest time right now. That was, what a lap time out of Andrew Miller. He's got a shot at another win this season. I would almost look at Miller possibly having a shot at the Valvoline 400 as well. I think it's a big wild card race. I think there's certain teams that are going to be an advantage to the GRT, to the Team Williams, to the Evans-Ross Racing. Once we get down to it at Daytona, this could actually be one of those teams, because they developed very differently at the beginning of the season to a lot of these other teams, but they have found a lot of speed with Miller, and they're just going to have a shot at a very good run here at Watkins Glen. That is impressive right there. Miller is still last in points of the chase drivers, which is, he's consistent, he's solid, he just hasn't quite had the best of seasons overall. I mean, the threshold is just so high, but you got to think, this is the first time Andrew Miller has made the chase in the Wawa Cup Series. He, along with Logan Williams, are 2 drivers who have been in this series since the first season. and they both finally found themselves in a position to make the chase this year. And they've done an excellent job. And, you know, there are wins that you got to count that may not necessarily be the highest prize in this series. And Miller and Williams have definitely done that this season. Williams going to start top 10. So you got Duncan Ward, Carson Miller, Darian Arnsdorf, Andrew Miller, Kirsten Bell, and Isaac Nichols. And it's a very interesting group there. I think you got a car from all 4 manufacturers in the Fast Six. So it's a diverse group of drivers up front. Nathan Smith and Blaine Keys, that'll be row number 4. Logan Williams and Ludovic Schreidt will be row 5. Trey Bartow and Daniel Paulus Jr. will be row 6. Jack Haas, Thomas Troxel will be row 7. Travis Crampton, Bernardo de Oliveira will be row 8. Campbell March, Brian Webb will be row 9. Philip Torres, Matthew Hubert will be row 10. Trey Wright, Angel Gutierrez will be row 11. Hallie Anderson Jr., Avery Alfred will be row 12. Zayden Davidson, LJ Semedo, that'll be row 13. Drew Webb and Christian Master will be row 14. Zachary Fitzwater, Nicholas Samadio will be row 15. Bruno Diacomo, Bryce Egan will be row 16. Justin Zidell, Roberto Crown Jr. row 18. Brad Stover, Braden Perez in row 18. Zidell and Crown is row 17. Stover and Perez is row 18. Leonard Kochmer, Jesse Turner in row 19. Alex Vitale, Laura Chung in row 20. Rogel Dorn and Tanner Parton in row 21. Let's go on to the Fast Six and see who advances on, wins the poll here from Watkins Glen with Duncan Ward, Carson Miller, Darian Arnsdorf, Andrew Miller, Kirsten Bell, and Isaac Nichols. And here we go, Fast Six action, about to start the fast laps here from Watkins Glen. Isaac Nichols and the number 6 machine there, and Kirsten Bell following each other. And you got Carson Miller, Darian Arnsdorf, Duncan Ward, and Andrew Miller, and are all in a line. This could get very interesting with Kirsten Bell, and we'll see if she gains any advantage on the straightaways, getting a pull there from the 6 machine, but it actually could be a detriment in the corners. I'd almost expect someone like Duncan Ward, or maybe even Andrew Miller possibly winning this poll here. But regardless of the fact, Nichols and Ward especially still have very high championship implications here in this session. So does Kirsten Bell. She's only 33 points behind, and she's got an opportunity to rebound if something happens to Duncan Ward and Paulus Jr. And who knows, maybe they'll end up finishing ahead of Duncan Ward and Daniel Paulus Jr. And any gain at this point, I think, is still going to be a huge win for both of these drivers. The big question is, will they have enough in the last 4 races? Richmond, Daytona, Homestead, and Darlington. And who knows how those last 4 races are going to go. Who knows how this race is going to go, our last road course of the season. Now, we always save the wildest one for last. Watkins Glen is always a lot of fun, and we are excited to see how this goes. And stuff like that right there, you can't do that in the Fast Six, overshooting the corner right there. Andrew Miller, we'll see if that ends up affecting his time. He'll be the last one to complete a lap here under speed. How about this for Darian Arnsdorf? Drove off in the corner in turn 8 in the Uncharted session and still ended up making the Fast Six anyway. And this is a driver who has made a lot of Fast Sixes this season. Matter of fact, his average starting position is better than Isaac Nichols, Jack Haas, Avery Alford, and the like. And he's actually not too far off from Duncan Ward in terms of the average starting position, and he's got 22 starts now, including this one here. And Isaac Nichols with the advantage on Kirsten Bell. Those are some pretty quick times. Of course, we saw 144.1s in the first round. 144.31, 341 for Isaac Nichols. Carson Miller's going to be next in line, and he was 144.1 in his first lap in round number 1. I don't know what he did in round 2, or in the Uncharted session. This is round 2. We'll find out what he does here in a moment. He was 144.833 and 145.066 right there. Arnsdorf across the line. 144.651. Here we go, Duncan Ward. We expect a good time. 144.880. And Andrew Miller, last one in line. And he goes fourth, 144.829. So Nichols and Bell were absolutely helping each other out on that lap. They were significantly faster. But lots of times we see that the second lap ends up being faster on these road courses, so we'll see if that ends up being the case for Nichols and Bell right here. And for the rest of the field, Isaac Nichols with an opportunity of winning the pole for this Lake Effect Ice Cream 400K, only 21 points behind Daniel Paulus Jr., who's going to start in the 12th position. And if Nichols theoretically were to win and Paulus were to finish in 12th, Nichols would be within a single-digit number worth of points. I don't even know how to talk. Going into Richmond, which would be huge for Isaac Nichols in his attempt to win this Wawa Cup Series championship. Keep in mind, Isaac Nichols and Parker Davis Enterprises, rookie driver, rookie team. And with all due respect, Max Davis, of course, part of the GRT Alliance, getting a bit of intel from those guys. Nichols, on the other hand, hasn't really done this before, and here he is with an opportunity to win the championship. You can say the same with Duncan Ward, and Eddie Debs, you know, putting in the ratings and all of that is something new to him as well. I would argue that Eddie, you know, has a little bit more experience, you know, putting Duncan in the Sprint Series last year and also having the Truck Series experience from a year ago, getting that win in Talladega. Kirsten Bell, of course, they're really strong at Evans-Ross Racing. No advantages for any of these guys. Nichols improved his time. Arnsdorf went up to second. Good run there for Arnsdorf. Duncan Ward going to take second. Oh, that's perfect. That is perfect. That is the perfect spot. That is exactly where you want to be. Second place. And I honestly don't even know if anyone would be able to get to Duncan Ward. I mean, we saw that race at Kentucky back on Monday night when Ladovich just completely whooped the field. I have a feeling if Duncan Ward gets that second place, that could be tomorrow's race here at Watkins Glen. Not necessarily. The pit strategy could get very interesting, but Duncan Ward is a driver who really has an advantage here at Watkins Glen compared to a lot of his colleagues, and I think that 23 machine is going to run up front all day tomorrow. Andrew Miller, 5th. 7:20 right now for him. Arnsdorf is third quickest. You know, that's such an awful place to be, that inside lane, especially third. Which is a shame for Arnsdorf, who honestly has an opportunity still of getting a win this season. No advantage there for Kirsten Bell, but that's a good place to be. 4th place to start the race. We'll see if she can hold on to that position and have an opportunity at it. Carson Miller in the 50 machine looking to start 6th. Andrew Miller looking to start in the 5th position. Looks like that's probably going to be it at this point. The tires are going to start to wear out a bit too much for these drivers to really gain anything from their prior laps. Carson Miller, of course, has the most to gain. He's 8.93. That's the slowest time so far. But no change for the driver of the number 50. Duncan Ward actually is a driver who I wouldn't be surprised to see improve his time, but he will not do so. And Andrew Miller there, last one in line. No improvement. Oh, he improved this time, but didn't improve his position. A little bit faster than that 86 machine. Still going to be a great starting position for him, even though it's going to be on the inside lane. That is not necessarily where you want to be for this race. But he's in a position to possibly win on strategy if things go his way in that regard. But Isaac Nichols in the number 6 machine. And, you know, if he gets a good jump at the start of the race and clears that outside lane, then Nichols, I think, would have a very good opportunity at winning tomorrow. But I tell you what, I think we're going to have ourselves one heck of a race tomorrow. Now, I think it's probably going to be our best road course race of the season. The road course races haven't been the best races so far this year, let me put it that way. This one, I think, easily has the opportunity to be the best one that we have had all year. And I say that because, you know, you got Paulus a little ways back. Ladovich Charette's not going to be starting up front. She won this race a year ago, so some of the better drivers in the series a little ways back. Of course, you got Duncan Ward, you got Isaac Nichols, Kirsten Bell, who are 3 of the top 4 guys in points who are in this Fast 6. It doesn't really seem like Nichols and Bell should be up there, especially Nichols. He's kind of come out of nowhere to be in this position, but he's had zero issue in the chase. He's run very consistently, and that's something that Paulus and Ward have struggled a little bit with. Just a little bit with, not actually too much. It's something a lot of the other guys behind Isaac Nichols have struggled with this season in the chase. Duncan Ward and Daniel Paulus Jr. actually have not really struggled with that. Total of 9 wins between those two drivers. A third of the races this season have been won by either Paulus or Duncan Ward, so rather impressive out of those two drivers right there. Of course, Duncan Ward is a rookie to the Wawa Cup Series. Will not be a rookie next season, though. Will not be a rookie in the Turkey Hill Truck Series this season. So I'd watch out for Duncan Ward in the Truck Series. Truck Series is going to be something to behold. I feel like we're going to have ourselves a lot of great races, and I actually think we're going to have a more competitive field up front. The new race system coming in, I think we have a lot more stronger drivers overall at stronger teams. Like, you got Sam Adio at Parker Davis. I think that's going to be a slam dunk for those guys. Of course, Sam Adio, formerly Grattan driver over in the Truck Series, and of course Grattan Autosport closing in the Truck Series as well. They're not coming back, so you only really have the two truck teams. I don't think Ladovic's got a truck team this season. I don't think she got a truck team. She's got a Cup Series team next year. Waiting for this time to run out here at Watkins Glen. We probably can get away with a 5-minute session here because they do actually go fast enough around this place to be able to get the laps in. But we'll just have to see how things are shaking out as we move along. Well, what am I talking about? This is it. We're not doing qualifying anymore after this. So I don't have to worry about it. Turkey Hill Truck Series. Who we got where? I got so many things in Google Sheets here, and I'm not organized. Actually, I made that folder. Why am I looking there? There it is. That'll do it here from the Fast 6, and Isaac Nichols has won the pole. Nichols is actually going to be driving for Dracoan Racing Enterprises. That's going to be very interesting to see how that ends up shaping out. I'm intrigued to see how that
goes. Drivers, to your car.
The trucks will be fun. Hey, Isaac Nichols has just won the pole for the Lake Effect Ice Cream 400K. That's an extra bonus point, so he's now only 20 points behind Daniel Paulus Jr. going into this race. Duncan Ward is going to start second on the outside. He's going to have the better starting position going into turn 1 at the start of this race. Darian Arnsdorf and Kirsten Bell there in row 2, and then Andrew Miller and Carson Miller in row 3. You see the rest of the starting grid right there. And yeah, tomorrow, noon Eastern Time, right here on AJ the Channel, it's the Lake Effect Ice Cream 400K. This is always a fun race here from Watkins Glen. We're excited to see it, and Isaac Nichols will be leading us off to the green flag in the 28th race of the season. Thank you guys so much for watching once again. Congratulations to Isaac Nichols for winning the pole, and I will see you guys later.